the day, Flosstube. My name is Lynette at Homesteading on the Homefront, and I am back for my second Flosstube video. It is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017, and I'm sitting out on my back deck. You can probably see we have somewhat of a water view, and you might be able to hear the bees buzzing. I have a hive and a nuke box on my deck, and we've had some torrential downpours these past couple of days, so the bees are out flying around because they are enjoying the sunshine, enjoying the weather, and I think they're taking some orientation flights. So if you hear the buzzing or see things around my head, it's just the bees. I wanted to open this Flosstube by referring back to my first video that I made. I had showed a winter barn scene that I had stitched many years ago, and I did not know who the designer was or where to get the chart. But I want to thank Karen Korn, who is prom queen stitcher here on Flosstube. She chimed in and said, "Hey, that looks like a D. Moss design from Leisure Arts." And so I Googled D. Moss, and sure enough, there it is. So the design is called Moments to Remember, and it is by Leisure Arts. So if you're interested, go see if you can hunt it down. Shortly after I made my first video, I think it might have been the next day, I was catching up on some new to me Flosstubers, and was, I don't know, it was either Distracted Stitcher's first or second video, I have no idea. But I got about, I don't know, 4 minutes into the thing, and she showed a pattern, and it was one of those where I had to pause and immediately go hunt the pattern down. She showed us her version of Sampler Girl's Jane Austen on the Weather, and it reads, "What dreadful hot weather we have. It keeps one in a continual state of inelegance." That kind of applies here. As this video goes on, you will begin to see the sweat dripping from my face. It's actually a nice day here. We're only at like 94% humidity. As you can tell, my hair is crazy. So I needed to do this chart because that's me, continual state of inelegance. So I went to the Sampler Girl's shop, and she has all kinds of neat designs. I had never been to the shop before, but I could not find this one that I wanted. And so I shot her a message and was getting impatient because, of course, I didn't want to wait. But I also knew I would probably have to wait for a response because we're 14 hours ahead here, 14 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time. And when daylight savings happens, we're going to be 15 hours ahead. So, yeah, it was during the day of my time, everyone back in the States was sleeping. So I was impatient, and I decided to Google the name of the pattern, and sure enough, up pops a link to her shop. So I don't know why it didn't appear the first time, but I was able to download it, and I immediately started stitching on that baby. And so I was using a scrap of fabric, so you can ignore this stuff here. This is what I came up with. Let me hold something in the back a bit so it's easier to see. I changed it slightly because I wanted to be able to fit it into a 5x7 frame. And so I changed the flower here, and I left the date out. But I'm still not 100% in love with the brown color that's used for the wording. So I think I'm going to stitch it again using blue for the wording. And I also think I'm going to do it over with one strand of floss, because that's how I prefer stitching, and I don't know why I did 2 strands here. This is a 32 count piece of fabric, and usually when I'm doing 32 count, I like to do 1 strand. So I think that this is going to get finished and donated to a fundraiser to raise money for the CV ball that we have in March, and hopefully somebody will buy it because womp. And then I will have a piece that I have restitched and love, because there couldn't be a better saying for where I am. So what else have I been doing in the week since I filmed? First of all, I want to say I never intended to film weekly. I still don't intend to film weekly, so I don't know if I will continue doing that, or if it's just that I've been stitching a lot and I had a lot to talk about, so I had enough material to cover in a week. We'll see. We'll play it by ear. One of the things I found this week while I was sorting through my cross-stitch bin was my very original project bag. I stitched this up, don't know, late 90s, early 2000s, maybe even earlier than that, maybe mid-90s. I don't remember. But I stitched the prayer, and then somehow, I know I didn't use a pattern, because up until probably 4 months ago, I was not comfortable with the sewing machine at all. So I must have engineered this myself somehow. As you can see, we have lots of Ziploc bags to hold floss and patterns and keep myself organized, and fancy dancy needle minder. Yeah, I don't use needle minders. I just park my needles anywhere where they're not going to be, where they won't leave rust holes in the linen. So I wanted to show this to you because one of my projects this week was actually making a Vana bag. I had seen her tutorial and knew that I wanted to make something to hold my stitching, and so I started with this. It's very old material. I bought it Hancock Fabrics when we lived in Virginia, so they've been out of business for several years now anyway. I did use the Velcro. Vana, her tutorial uses Velcro, but she has since moved to the metal snaps, which I think I'm going to try on my next bag just to see. And I have loved this bag when I am using my large hoop. It fits perfectly. I'm a hoop stitcher. If I'm doing small ornaments, then I will even stitch in hand, but it's hoop for me. No Q-snaps, no project rolls or anything like that. So this fits perfectly in this bag. However, I found that when I was working on smaller projects, everything kind of just got lost in the bag. It was too big. My floss was way down at the bottom. Who knows where my scissors were? Everything, it was just hard to keep organized. So I think my next project bag that I'm going to make is going to be a little smaller to accommodate this size hoop. And I think I'm going to build some pockets in here to hold floss and scissors. So that'll be my next project bag. I also have fabric on order, not even fabric, some clear vinyl on order, so that I can make some of those see-through bags that everyone has been showing off. So I want to see if I like using that kind of bag better. So once I try a couple of different designs and see what I like, then I'm hoping to make a bunch more. I certainly have enough fabric on order to make a bunch more. Okay, so one of the things I did when I was not making the project bag or stitching was I found some linen in my stash that it was white and simple ecru, and I knew I wanted something different, more prim. So I dug out my walnut crystals and I started dyeing. And one of the pieces, this is a piece of MCG Textiles, I believe. It was ridiculously cheap. I think the clearance price tag was like $3 on it. So I don't know if I got it from Hobby Lobby or what, but I've heard that some stitchers don't enjoy it. But I'm going to keep an open mind and I'm going to try it. But what happened, and I hope you can see this in the light, right here, there is an obvious line of light and dark. And it's not because I dipped it into the fabric this way, or dipped it into the dye. I literally wadded it up like this and shoved it in my crock pot full of water and walnut crystals. And when I took it out, there was is this very obvious line between the light and the dark. And yeah, I think you can see that. So thankfully, I had no plans for this fabric. I wasn't, dyeing it to use for a specific project. If I was, and this happened, I would be kind of upset. Thankfully, I'm just planning to use this for ornaments, so it's not a big deal. But I wanted to throw that out there to see if it's happened to anybody else, or to tell you to be careful if you're planning to use linen like that to dye and use on a big project. Okay. Yes, I did some actual cross stitching this week. Last week, last video, I showed you this project. This is out of the 2016 Just Cross Stitch Ornaments episode. And I got, it looks like it's done, but I'm not. I have like 6 or 7 more stitches right here that need to go in. But I am out of this color green. So I figured no big deal. I'll just add it to my next Joann's order, which I placed last night. And surprise, surprise, Joann's is requiring you to order like 10 or 12 skeins of the same color. So needless to say, I didn't do that. I've got a stitchy friend on island whose mom used to own a cross stitch shop in Georgia. So she has lots of colors. I'm going to shoot her an email and see if she has this that I can borrow. I just need a strand to finish. So not sure how I'm going to finish this up. It's going to be an ornament of some sort. I don't think I'm going to make a pillow out of it. Now this piece I stitched to go with this piece. This is a free pattern from the Luli website. And I know that Marlene from Stitching by the Lake has stitched this, because I was watching a video last night and I was dumbfounded, because honestly, if I didn't have the DNA report to prove that my mother is my actual mother, I might have some questions for Marlene, because every time I watch one of her videos, I am just stunned. There's always something. One of her videos she was shooting in her bedroom, and I realized we have the same bedroom set. Another video, she mentioned being a high school math teacher. That's what I was. She likes to stitch chickens and bees for her sister. And so anyway, the similarities go on and on and on. And she's a delightful person, and I would love to be able to meet her someday. But anyway, she had stitched this. And so I wanted to show these together. I used the same colors, just some colors that I had chosen and liked. They were not at all the called for colors, but I knew I wanted to make this kind of a matching set. So again, this is from the Luli website. I will post a link to it down below, so that if you're interested in stitching the stag, you can get on that free pattern. I'm hoping somehow to use these fabrics. I just found them in my stash, and I thought they would look really good together. So we'll see. I'm awaiting, like I mentioned, several orders actually from Joann's. One of them contains the mounting board and stitcher's tape and the little gun thing, for framing, stretching. Was it Stitcherista did a video about it. You're all very good at enabling me. But anyway, I'm awaiting that shipment or two before I can start finishing my projects. I realized while I was sorting through my box that 2016 was a very prolific stitching year for me, but nothing is finished because I had no supplies here to do anything. Like, I couldn't even frame them in standard size frames because I couldn't stretch them. I wish I knew how to lace, but I don't, and so hopefully the gun thing will help. Speaking of 2016 being a prolific year, I wanted to show you this next project that I had done. I don't have a lot of autumn or Halloween. I don't stitch Halloween much, if at all, but I do enjoy autumn. It's my favorite season. We were married in October. I just love autumn. And so when I saw this next pattern, I hopped on it because I loved it. I usually don't like patterns with people in them. But this one wasn't a skinny mini, and I loved the colors, and I loved the sentiment. So this is Queen of Harvest by Brenda Gervais. The only thing that I didn't like was all of the acorns. I thought there were too many. So what I did when I stitched this was I switched out the acorns, some of the acorns, and I put beehives in instead. And I know that this beehive right here, it came from another pattern. I'm not sure if it was another of her patterns or what, but I know that I just did not think of that beehive up off the top of my head. But there she is. And again, I believe this will, I stitched this to fit into standard size frame, but I need my mounting supplies before I can do anything with her. And then after I had almost finished stitching the stocking, I wanted a fall project. So many of you are stitching lovely fall pieces, and even though it's not at all fall weather here, I wanted something to get me in the mood. So I went to my stash, and I didn't find anything fall, but I did find this. And I'm going to show it sideways so you can read it. It says, "Today, blessings to thee," and then the other side of the pillow says, "Today, a pox upon thee." So it's a primitive mood keep by Plum Street Samplers, and I saw this, and it just made me laugh, and I knew I had to do it, and the colors are so beautiful. So I've been working on that, just on a scrap piece of linen. I don't know what it was. I think I bought it used or whatever, but I noticed, I don't know if you can see, there's a spot in the middle, so I had to be careful of where I was stitching. So this is how the front looks, and then this is what I've got for the back. So probably another couple of days and this will be done being stitched. I haven't decided how I'm going to finish this one yet. Part of me wants to make it a pillow that I can like leave in the dining room and, you know, flip it over to suit my moods. One of the reasons I kind of liked this is because when we went to Orchard House a couple summers ago, this is the Alcott's house in Concord, Massachusetts. We took a tour of the house, and they told us that Louisa May had like a cylindrical pillow on the couch, and if it was lying, I think if it was lying down, then she was in a good mood, and if it was standing up, then she was in a bad mood, and don't talk to her or something like that. And so I liked that story, and I think that might be part of what made me get this pattern. But I thought maybe it would be kind of neat to make this into a two-sided flat and hang it on my oldest daughter's door so that she could warn us, you know, what kind of day it's going to be. But I don't know. I do like the idea of using it for my moods instead of hers. So after this is done, like I said, it's an easy stitch, it's a fun stitch, I'm enjoying it, but it didn't take me nearly as long as I thought it would. I was thinking about what I wanted to start next, and several of you are doing the Harvest Keeper, and I have had this chart kitted up for a while. I just love it. I've done all of her beekeeping patterns. I don't like the witch hat, so I think I'm gonna change that to just like a big bun on her head, and maybe add another flower or add another bee. But I think this might have to be my fall project, at least to take me through to Thanksgiving. And I know I probably won't finish it because these pieces take a while. But it's a thought. It's something depending on my mood, I guess. I do also want to get some Christmas ornaments in. I left all of our irreplaceable Christmas ornaments at my parents' house because I did not want them on a ship in the middle of the ocean that got hit by a typhoon and went down forever. So a lot of my cross-stitch pieces that I've done and a lot of ornaments and photos are at my mom's house. And so we have made do just fine. I have plenty of like Christmas balls and stuff like that that we hang on our tree here. But I want some more homemade Christmas ornaments, and I really want to have ornaments to give to the kids. I tried to buy them an ornament every year. It's gone by the wayside here because the selection is just not fantastic. But I do want to give them ornaments when they get married so that they have, you know, their own memories associated with Christmas. And I was at the thrift store yesterday. There's 2 thrift stores on island that are okay. And one of them always has outdated cross-stitch stuff, and it just brings back memories because this is the stuff that I started stitching on. But I found this one, cross-stitch Christmas ornaments in sweet frames suspensions. I think the copyright is 1986. And as you can see, the front page kind of totally 80s. But there was one ornament on the back, right here. I just fell in love with Mrs. Claus. I didn't like Mr. Claus so much, but Mrs. Claus, I think, is going to have to be stitched up. And she's quick. She won't take long at all. So I think I'm going to work on her. And then I got on eBay the 2002, 2003, and 2004 cross-stitch Christmas ornaments. And this guy I want to do. My youngest took one look at him and said, "Mom, he's absolutely enormous." Nothing wrong with that. I love him. I've stitched several in this style, and I also love him. But they're way more confetti. This guy looks like he'd be easier to stitch. So I think he's going on my list. And that's out of the 2002 magazine. And then I have a couple marked in 2003. This one, I must have looked through this magazine like 5 times before I saw the stocking. And it's a blackbird design. So I really like that one. I'm going to try to do that one. And then the other one, I had just pinned this. Somebody had finished it slightly different, and I saw it and pinned it to my cross-stitch board because I liked how it turned out. And then I saw it, and so now I have to stitch it and finish it more like whoever it was online that I pinned. And then in 2004, there's a couple that caught my fancy as well. I don't know if I'll get to all of these or not, but I can try. This one right here, I really liked, with the little squirrels. I thought they were adorable. And then I liked the barn. If I finish it, it's going to have to be just like a rectangular finish because I'm not going to be fancy. But I really liked that, so that might have to get done. And in one of these magazines, I thought I marked it. Yes, this one. So 2003. One of the cross-stitchers on Flosstube that I've been listening to, I don't know if it's the Striped Rose. I don't remember who it was, but they told a story about flamingos, and they had a flamingo tree. And so I saw this ornament, and I thought it was adorable. So whoever that was, I'm sorry I can't remember. 2003 Just Cross Stitch magazine has this adorable little flamingo that you should probably stitch up for your tree. All right, I think that's it. We're at 25 minutes, and the sky is looking pretty blue for today, but at any point in time, I am sure that we are going to get rained upon again, because that's what it's been doing today. So, in fact, I think I just felt the sprinkle. So I will say adios for now. Thank you to everyone for your support and your comments and your likes and your subscribing to my channel. It's been great fun. I've really enjoyed it. And like I said, I don't know if I'll be back in a week or 2 weeks or what. I actually have a crafters retreat coming up the 20th and 21st of October. Nothing fancy. We just got a room with tables and comfy chairs, and it's bring your own craft stuff and work on whatever you want. So I'm sure we'll have sewers and quilters and cross stitchers and crocheters and scrapbookers and stampers and the whole 9 yards. But I am looking forward to 2 solid days of being able to do nothing but craft. So if nothing else, hopefully I will have some finishes or starts or something from that to show you next time around. But until then, thanks for watching, and God bless.